with Dr. B Podcast. And guess what? We're on the road. We're on the New York State Thruway. Well, is this the Thruway from here? I don't know. It's 87 South. And we're headed back from a weekend trip to our beloved Albany, visiting some friends. And we're headed back home, and we thought, let's change it up. Let's have a video recording session, podcast recording session here in the car. As we wrap up August, we took you through a journey within, so to speak, and our friend and my mentor, Christy Uffelman, took you through some of her best practices on finding your way back, or wayfinding, and finding your answers within. And so today we were going to talk about the deposits. Remember, we talked about it a little bit in July, deposits in your relationships. But with then now I'm going to talk about deposits within yourself. I alluded to it at the beginning of the month, but we're going to talk a little bit more about it. And it's something that, putting deposits into yourself is important as well, right? So for me, my deposits, my daily deposits, which are my non-negotiables, I guess you could call it a direct deposit or an auto deposit, is that I must pray, must sit still, pray. I do a brain dump every day. I'll sit and write down everything that needs to be done for the day or the week or the month, and 15 minutes of walking, 5 minutes at least of abs, and another 5 minutes of weight training of some sort. Maybe it's upper body or lower body. But that's my non-negotiables. I have to do it every day. And although I didn't walk yet today, I did do all the other stuff. And it's a Sunday. So that is my daily deposit. So Ben, what do you think? What are your thoughts around this?
Similarly, I make sure that I talk to God. I make sure that I check myself and what I'm thankful for. And I make sure that I get some form of exercise every day now. And I try to, I cheat, but
we just cheated a lot.
We just cheated on this ride. But I want to make sure that I'm depositing in terms of conscious eating and being aware of what I'm putting in my body, so that if I make a bad choice, at least I'm aware of it, and then subsequently act on it differently next time, or at least do something like the exercise or eat better next time. So those are some key fundamental deposits that I'm committed to no matter what every day.
So it's really kind of like what we always say with the bank deposit, right? Like if we're making withdrawals, like we ate out of our usual plan this weekend.
We just did this cheat on this ride.
We just did on this ride.
Those are withdrawals. Those aren't deposits.
So those are withdrawals
from our personal. We used to call it our vitality account.
Right, our personal vitality account. And then so this week, or even maybe later today, who knows? We're gonna make up for it. We're gonna put more deposits than we would have, just to make up for the withdrawals, because we're human. We know that we can't always be perfect and always, do everything perfectly, robotically every day. So we allow ourselves for that space for our personal deposits, right?
Which is, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's congruent with what you always say, progress, not perfection.
Right. We're always looking at progress and not perfection. Because if we go toward perfection, we're going to get frustrated and we're going to get discouraged and we're not going to believe in ourselves. So we always like to say progress and not perfection. We also like to say we do things in excellence and not perfection. Because if we're always striving for perfection, we'll never get there. But doing your best at the given time with the things that you have at the moment you have them is excellence. And when you do excellence over time, you can never arrive at perfection, but it's the closest that you can get to it without feeling like you failed, basically, because you at least say, I did the best with what I had in the circumstances that I was in. And, as we talk about doing, let's say, eating well and exercise, back in the day, that was something that I always say in my in my workshops. So back in the day, I did that so I could look cute in my outfits and I could fit in the size whatever, 4 or whatever. But now these deposits are for long-term deposits and long-term gains. So I'm doing this now so that when I'm 80 and 90 and so on, God willing, I'll be able to still play with my grandkids and great-grandkids and get on the floor with them and run with them and walk with them and do all kinds of like crafts with them and travel with them. So that's also a long-term deposit, right? Like it's going to have long-term gains. And obviously, Ben and I want to be around together for a long time. We want to have a very energy-filled life and live with a lot of vitality. So those two, our food choices and our exercise choices and our rest choices and our meditation choices and our fun choices are all forms of deposits that we intentionally will choose to help us live the life we want to live now and beyond. Also, just talking with our friends that are our age, we're now experiencing, some of you maybe have already experienced this, or some of you have still yet to experience it. We are entering a new chapter in our lives. Our sons are grown and flown. They're ready. One of them is already living in Boston, living his yuppie life with his fiance, and another one is embarking on his life living in the metropolitan area at FDNY, and his significant other is finishing up graduate school for social work at UPenn. So it's like well, what about us? But we're reinventing ourselves, and we're going to start a new chapter somewhere that in some ways that we'll take whatever we've learned and all the deposits we've had done over the past decade into something now fulfilling and a different chapter. And that's another reason why you put in deposits, because you don't know what your future will bring and where you will be and where you will land. And so we had some kind of hit, some kind of bump, and the recording stopped recording. So we were saying that you just don't know where you'll be and where you'll land in the future. So always doing things to help to put deposits in yourself, whether it be physical, mental, or professional, is always a good thing to do, because you'll never know where you'll be able to use those skills or experience that you've gleaned over the years. So what do you think about that, Ben?
I think it's wisdom coming from your mouth. It makes perfect sense. And here we are talking about deposits and withdrawals and accounts, and so we're making this whole sort of financial metaphorical way of looking at it. So I think what you're saying is like, that's the interest that it pays us back.
True.
When we have these long-term deposits. When we're talking about exercising, it's not just because we want to put a deposit to cover the withdrawal we made from all the bad food we just ate on this ride, but also because the better we eat, the decisions we're making today are affecting us down the road. 3 months down the road, 3 years down the road, 30 years down the road. So the deposits we made or withdrawals we made 30 years ago, we're either benefiting from or paying for right now. So it's the interest.
Right.
That's the interest. I guess that's what I have to say about that.
So while you were saying that, it just brought up some memories for me. I actually went to graduate school before I went to medical school. I didn't get into medical school right away. So I said to myself, and I didn't know at the time, now that I'm looking back retrospectively, I said, okay, how can I move toward my goal? What deposit can I make toward my skill set that I'm able to move toward my goal? Well, I ended up going to graduate school for biochemistry and molecular biology because I was not great at it. I wanted to learn something that I could hone my skills on. And through it was kind of grueling. We learned a lot about, I was in a lab that learned about neurons in brains and how it can regenerate and how it can, at the time, it was the lab that was open, and I ended up falling in love with my mentor, who was this really amazing German woman. I was scared of her at first, but she showed me how to be a woman of science and of integrity and of just seeking answers. And through that, I learned how to present scientific data in front of a very difficult crowd. People that would ask questions that you'd have to know on the spot, and she prepared me for it. And it was grueling. I defended my thesis when I was graduated from medical school with a distinction in research. It was always something we had to do, to present research, like minutia detail, and be grilled on it. And I hated it, but I had to do it. But you know what? That was a long-term deposit, because now it has helped me in my speaking career. It's helping me talk to you right now, today, and taking scientific data and analyzing it and sharing it with people in a way that they understand it. It just gave me such confidence that I could pretty much present anything that I understood very well to people to make them understand it. And that's what it led me to today, right? So that was a long-term deposit. I had no clue I would ever use it again. Meanwhile, I had no clue that I would ever be interested so much in brain activity and neurons and brain health. And all of that also has influenced it. So that's just like a really broad thing. I mean, I'm not expecting people to become neuroscientists or anything, but I am so sure anybody listening to this now has done something similar in the past that they did not know they're putting deposits into their future. And all of a sudden, wow, the skill that I was just thrust into learning is now helping me so much. And I know, Ben, you've done a bunch of that too, whether it's...
You know what? In hearing what you're saying, we all do it in our own ways. I mean, I've just recently lost a bunch of weight, and that was because I was, I committed to, like you were doing things with Dr. Hoff that was grueling for you. It was hard for you. It was hard work. But look at the payoff. And so I've lost some weight recently. We both have, because we knew we'd have to put in the work.
Right.
But now we're getting those results, and so those were deposits we were putting in. But what I really want to say about that is when you're talking about making these kinds of deposits, you're talking about checking your own faith. Because, as we know, faith is like seeing something and believing in something that you can't really see.
Right.
And faith can mean God or the universe or whatever that might mean for you. But faith can just be belief.
Yes.
And that's what I mean by checking your faith. Because I know when I started doing the exercises and cleaning up my eating the way I was, it's not like, oh, I ate well and exercised today, I just dropped 40 pounds by the morning. That's not the way it works. You have to believe that what you're doing, you have to trust that process, you have to check your faith, and then keep moving when you're not seeing the results, believing that the results will show up eventually.
Right.
And so this is not profound. We didn't invent this.
Right.
This is nothing new. But we are here to say, check your faith, make deposits, and while you're making the deposits, don't let go of the faith.
Right.
Whatever that looks like, whatever faith looks like for you. Right.
And faith and fear do the same thing. They make you believe in something you can't see. So why not believe that it's going to work? It takes the same amount of energy than it does to believe you're wrong. So faith is face everything and rise, or face everything or fear everything and run.
Faith.
Fear. I'm sorry. Yeah. Fear is
the acronym.
The acronym is face everything and rise, or I don't know if it's face. I think it's fear everything and run.
Yes.
So why not just believe that you can do it? Because if you can do it, then you proved yourself right. If you can't, you're nowhere. You're just where you started anyway.
Right. Who was it that said if you believe you can or you can't, you're right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ford said that.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I think that's our little musing for today on this end of the month podcast, and we actually are still putting together September podcast. The theme, we're not quite sure. Probably has something to do with the start of the new season, and we are just in the process of pulling that theme together. So we're going to surprise you in a week. But thank you. If you have a Flourish Flash, something that sparked your mind as a light bulb moment, something that you might take on and switch your life around, please share it. Share it in the comments, share it with people, repost it on your social media with a link to this episode, and it just might change somebody's life and help somebody flourish. Do you have anything else to add?
I guess I want to add, we'd love to know if anybody else, what deposits they're making, like you said. And this whole conversation now, we grow from these conversations. We hope you're growing from these conversations. Is now making me check myself and say, okay, that's all really cool, but what other deposits am I not making and not even thinking about that would bring a better bend to this world, subsequently make things better for you, for the rest of our family, for our friends in the world. So it's time for me to think about that. And so I'm excited that we did this.
Yeah, it really has, dusted the cobwebs off.
Yeah.
And while Ben was saying that, it reminded me of the first conversation we had at the beginning of this month, where there was 5 areas, and there could be more for you, but friends and family, career and education, finances, well-being, whether it's spiritual, mental, physical, and then also contribution to society. Like when you show up big and when you make deposits in yourself, you will most likely tend to show up big in all those areas and start putting deposits in those areas and those relationships as well, whatever that looks like. So thank you for bringing that up, because that is very important. When you show up big for yourself, you most of the time will show up big for other people as well. So I think that's it, right?
I think that's it. And yeah.
So
I was trying to come up with the words and I couldn't, but I got them now. Until next time in the hive.
Be kind and flourish fully.